Day.
Hey.
Yay.
I think it's a great idea.
Well, only because have you switched to Sun yet?
Yes.
Okay, never mind. Well, because yeah. I'll put this little. I'll put this
Are you
little.
gonna get naked
story,
again?
in the maybe. Where is the chat section?
David, I can't remember, man. Do you have an apartment number or anything?
No.
All right.
I mean,
3120 West Eastwood?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Technically we do, but it's a duplex. So if it's addressed to us, we know exactly who it goes to because there's only 3 people in the building.
Okay.
My wife, myself, and the guy below us. So.
Gotcha. Good.
All right. You guys ready to start the countdown, start the show?
Oh my God.
Why do I get the feeling that you're doing like a birthday present now?
I'm not.
All right.
Let's see here. All right. Are we ready for the countdown?
Yes.
Hell.
Wait, I got to clean my scoreboard.
Oh, wait.
Shut up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Damn it.
Oh, yeah. What is going on, everybody? Better late than never. Game That Tune is back in the house once again with that August absurdity shit. It's your boy John Harrington here. We got David Fleming. Say hey.
Hey.
And we've got a couple of fantastic competitors tonight. I'm going to let them say hey real quick, and then I'll let them just take over and cut promos all over each other. We got the man, the myth, the John Deucer himself, John Regan. Say hey.
Hey, this is John Regan. I'm excited tonight to go up against Jesse. We're going to see who the real Sega legend is. I'm going to issue a challenge to Jesse right now. Whoever wins tonight gets the Sega legend Twitter handle.
Oh, man. We should have established stakes last week. Why didn't we do that, man?
Medium rare.
Son of a bitch. And you know, we got on the other side, we got the man, the myth, the Sega _ legend, Jesse Moore himself. Jesse, say hey.
Well, let me tell you something, brother. I fear no man, no beast, no evil, brother. And I'm going to tell you something, dude. When all the little Jesse maniacs are running wild, you know, I'm sorry, John. I'm just, you know, it's going to be rough out there for you, brother.
Yeah, I like Jesse Maniacs. We're gonna have to make Jesse Mania a thing. Maybe that's what's at stake. Like, if Jesse wins August,
Johnny with his Mickey Mouse tattoos and his 33-pound head. I mean, come on. I mean, he's big, he's hairy, and he smells like rotten testicles. I mean, come on.
Jeez,
I'm just quoting rough.
Johnny, man. You know, you got to return fire on this. You got to give Jesse some of that sweet chin music. What do you say to all this?
Oh yeah, God, I'm really not good at confrontation, to be honest.
I know, that's so
Game
funny.
one.
I love it. Oh shit.
Yeah, I love the
Anyway,
idea that August Absurdity has turned into like, he smells like testicles. He's going down. Johnny, what do you got to say? Well, we're all entitled to our opinions.
yeah, my problem happens to be glandular. So anywho, this is Game That Tune August Absurdity. It's our head-to-head tournament for the month of August. It's going to be a lot of fun. We've got 5 fantastic games selected by David and myself because we completed our round last week. And so now it's head-to-head action between Johnny and Jessie to see who's going to head to the finals for a chance at that August Absurdity crown. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. These guys are skilled, and they've got interesting wheelhouses, which I think David and I have either actively ignored or tried to play directly into. So we'll just have to start listening to the music to find out. So Johnny, why don't you hit the start button on game 1?
Game 1.
Oh, yeah. So, amongst the criticisms of this game, people discussed the gratuitous appearances of a certain character, incorrect physics, and a rumble feature that was a waste of a AAA battery. All right, guys. So it's game one of your August Absurdity round one. What are you guys thinking on this one? Oh man, Johnny's got his answer up. He's feeling confident. Guess he's still writing.
I got nothing.
Jesse's
I saw his
got-
answer before I started writing, and it would have been wrong of me to cheat. So
It's all right. Because, man, Johnny is jumping out to an early lead. It's Pokemon Pinball.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Man, oh man. Johnny, did you, can't remember, did you play Pokemon Pinball?
I never actually did. I
Really?
just remember there being a rumble feature in that required a AAA battery, and then that
Yes,
last
it is
music
one of the-
had the
Oh.
some music from Pokemon like within it.
Yes. That was, that was my little, just sprinkle a little Pokemon music in there. That I believe that last music has the bike riding theme. And so you hear it and you think Pokemon and you think moving faster than walking. So yeah, man, Pokemon Pinball is pretty fucking fun. David, did you play this one? You're the handheld guy.
I never played Pokemon Pinball. Back on the original Game Boy, I was strictly Pokemon. I never played Pokemon Pinball. I never played the Pokemon card game. I remember it being very weird that there was a Pokemon card game video game.
Oh yeah, that seemed like some kind of, really I don't know, shyster move there. Like I'm not paying you like for a video game of the card game. I'll just buy the cards and play the card game. Like,
but I remember thinking like Pokemon Pinball, what? And then like looking at the back of the box at the screenshots and everything, is like, wait, you mean you have to like knock the ball into Pokemon to catch them, and like you go to various tables based on like Mount Moon and shit? Like, hold up,
yes,
maybe this is better than I thought.
Yeah,
but
man.
I never actually played it.
It's a lot of fun, and yeah, it's just super cute, pretty basic pinball stuff. I mean, obviously the Game Boy screen is not big enough to fit an entire pinball table on, so it's like that kind of pinball where if you hit it up to one thing, it changes to a different screen, you bat it around there and stuff like that. So and I mean, seriously, Pokemon Pinball makes sense. Pokeball Pinball. I mean, like that's the main feature that starts it off. I guarantee you that was like how they were brainstorming. It's like, all right, what else can we do with these Pokemon? I don't know. We can make another one and make like 500 more monsters or something. No. We need something quicker than that. What? How can we reuse these assets? Well, the balls. Bingo, pinball baby. Slap it in there. But no, it's actually really fun. And I remember this game because this was the first game that I ever like downloaded a Game Boy emulator for, and I played the shit out of this. Like, it's been a good 19 years, but man, I played the shit out of this back when I realized I could actually download this and play it in working form just like on my computer at home. And I didn't feel like I was really missing out, because who needs the rumble? And it's a pinball game, so all I need is 2 keys. Like, it was.
I mean, I'm slightly confused because I thought you might have said the word emulator, but I believe you meant when you legally purchased and downloaded this game.
Oh yes,
through completely legal means.
I do not want this podcast to be taken down by Nintendo. So yeah, purchased through perfectly legal means and played on my Game Boy Color. Play it loud. Definitely play it on a Game Boy Color. But yeah, no, this game is really fun, man. It's just simple pinball stuff, and like you said, you gotta it's literally you gotta catch them all. Like, there's a Pokedex that keeps your progress. So like it's like, man, when's the last time that a pinball game incentivized you to play more, aside from just like wanting to get the high score? Like, high scores are fine, but like this one, it's like, no, you got like a 1 in 16 chance of like a rare Pokemon showing up on your board. You got to do certain things to catch them, and you got to fill out your Pokedex. I'm like, that's actually a really fun like thing to add to a fucking pinball game. So yeah, I never did catch them all. The way that you like catch things in this is fucking crazy. I don't remember any of the real specific ones. But it would open up like a little thing where the ball could drop in. You'd go to like a room with like Haunter or Ghastly or Gengar. There was like a little mini game with like Digletts and Dugtrios, I think, where you're like whack-a-moling them with the pinball. But like Mew apparently is, get this, extremely hard to catch.
No.
Yeah, Mew. But yeah, I was reading about it today, and it said something like, there's no way that you'll be able to catch it just like through regular play of the game. You got to get to like the Indigo Plateau board, complete a special thing to make it appear, and then you have to hit it something like 1,000 times you got to complete like 1,000 hits on it, because you got to hit like lights to light up the word catch, something like 100 times, and it's like 4 lights to light up the word catch, and then you got to fucking hit me with the ball, and it's got to be like the master ball or whatever. I'm like, this is crazy. Like, I can't imagine anybody getting this good at any pinball game. But I guess, I mean, there are pinball crazies out there, right? Like, maybe not for Pokemon pinball, but
I think they're called pinball wizards when they're really into pinball.
No, I think the word was pinball crazies. Like, who would be that into pinball?
Well, that's the thing, like, pinball. Oh, yeah. Old people like us, like, oh yeah, pinball. There's always like pinball machines and everything, but like if you look at digital pinball games, there is a shocking amount of them. Like people go nuts for playing video game versions of pinball. It's kind of amazing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this game does things that would not be easily replicated on an actual pinball table, like having rooms and 151 Pokemon to catch. But I was thinking about it, I'm like, man, I know Nintendo doesn't want to get into like arcade amusements anymore, but like pinball with Pokemon would be pretty fucking fun. Like, I would gravitate towards that immediately upon walking into like my local barcade. Like, if I heard Pikachu's voice calling out to me, it's like, what was that? And it was a pinball machine, I'd give it at least 25 cents. Like, hell, I might even give it 50 cents.
God, could you imagine if they made like an actual Pokemon pinball arcade machine, and like along the side of it was just bands of tall grass? So you had to like look through the tall grass to see the actual machine where you would play to catch the Pokemon.
See, I love that. That's a beautiful touch. Like, I mean, seriously, I don't know what a modern pinball constitutes modern pinball machine does these days, but I imagine you could make a really nice one now. And actually, now that I say it, I should probably stop talking about it. I'm going to give Nintendo a great idea. They're going to collaborate with like fucking Konami, and suddenly Pokemon's going to become pachinko machines. And we don't want that.
Okay,
arcade amusements are fun, but let's just actually, now that I think about it, let's just steer away from that. So, yeah, it's a fun game, man. And I figured that you guys were Pokemon players back in the day. Both Game Boy owners, right? Please tell me I wasn't severely misguided on this.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I tried to pick something fair that you guys would probably have played. And Pokemon Pinball seemed like a safe bet. Also, fun fact in researching this is one of the 10 best-selling Game Boy games of all time.
Really?
I am not surprised at all.
That's
because it has Pokemon in the title.
Yeah, and it rumbles. They were really after that rumble feature, I guess. Like, it is kind of funny that it seems like one of the least essential things that ever got a rumble feature. Like, how much does a pinball machine rumble? Well, it rumbles when you hit it, like, and nudge it. And so what does the Game Boy do when you do this? Like, do you nudge your Game Boy a little bit and it rumbles? No, there's a button you can hit that does tilt things to the Pokemon pinball thing, which also rumbles your thing. Like, it's not the best rumble feature, quite frankly. Like, they
that was one thing that I really did appreciate about Metroid Prime Pinball was it came with a rumble pack. So like as you played it, your DS would rumble, and if you swiped your finger on the bottom screen, you could get the machine to like shake and tilt.
Yeah, I love that. That's also something that everybody has to program into their pinball game. There has to be a way to break the machine by hitting the wrong buttons. Like, yeah, you got to go for that authentic pinball experience that so many people do these days. Like, everybody beats up a fucking real pinball machine, right? They'll want to be able to do that in a game. Yeah, sure.
I have a question. I've been wondering this for a minute now. Of the top 10 best-selling Game Boy games, how many of them are Pokemon?
Ooh, fair question.
Bet 3.
I'm going to guess 7.
Okay, hold on. I had this. Best-selling Game Boy games.
No,
this is only...
And I mean, I'm going just basically off the top of my head. I'd imagine Super Mario Land is number 1. I'd say Pokemon,
not Tetris,
Pinball, and Pokemon. Oh yeah, Tetris. Okay, so it's got to be the list has got to be somewhere on there. Super Mario Land, Tetris, Pokemon Pinball. I would say probably Pokemon Gold and Silver, Pokemon Red and Blue, Link's Awakening, Mario Land 2, maybe?
Really? I can't keep doing hand signs. So it's Tetris, Pokemon Red and Blue, Pokemon Gold and Silver, Super Mario Land, Pokemon Yellow, Super Mario Land 2, Pokemon Crystal, Dr. Mario, Pokemon Pinball, and the surprise number 10, Wario Land, Super Mario Land 3.
So half of that list was Pokemon games, if I'm doing my math right, 5 out of 10?
Yes.
That's
But, I mean,
amazing.
that's the thing. It's Pokemon Red and Blue, and then Yellow. And then it's Pokemon Gold and Silver, and then Crystal.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's, but still, I'd say that actually pushes Pokemon Pinball, like, well up the list. If you absorb those into each other, Pokemon Pinball becomes, like, the 6th best-selling game on the Game Boy. Like, so, it's, it was a hit.
I'm amazed that Wario Land beat out Link's Awakening.
Yes. Actually, Link's Awakening was beaten out by what other games? Oracle of Ages and Seasons.
Actually, now that I think about it, I'm kind of amazed that Wario Land beat out the entire Kirby series.
Yep.
Shit, it did.
This is a great discussion of Game Boy sales figures. I'm so glad that we got into this. It may or may not have been the lightning round I had planned for the end of the game, but we'll just see when we get there. So we've actually got somebody with a lead right now. So Johnny has taken off, and we might not even need a lightning round. So Pokemon Pinball is dope, and I think we have to move on to Game 2.
Game 1.
Yep.
Game 2.
I can't.
So, the main character of this series was replaced in this game with a secondary character. This was done because the publisher was afraid that this game would be a flop, and they didn't want to give the main character top billing in a game they were afraid would fail and thus damage the brand image of the series. Who's got some guesses or answers?
Yeah, I was going to say.
Got to ask the right questions there, David.
All right, so Jesse Moore says Tails, which is sadly incorrect. John Regan has the correct answer. This is motherfucking Knuckles Chaotix.
Wow. I'm not sure why it's motherfucking Knuckles Chaotix. David will have to explain that. But
well, because this is such a an obscure pick for the show. Like, it's about damn time we got a 32X game on Game That Tune.
Yeah, is this a Game That Tune first?
I think it is. I don't think we've ever had a 32X game on the show. I don't know if we ever will again.
Is there any other 32X game aside from Knuckles Chaotix?
Doom.
Hey, he's right. Okay, so Johnny, explain to us what a 32X is.
All right, so a 32X is a doodad that you plugged into your Sega Genesis cartridge port, and
that's right, folks, a doodad.
And it was an add-on to add 32-bit capabilities to the Sega Genesis. It was a way to try to give the Sega Genesis a little bit more life. And basically, I think Sega of America made the 32X while Sega of Japan was working on the Saturn. Basically, this is at peak, like, two Segas not talking to each other kind of thing. And so the 32X had a very short shelf life. I think it was only on the shelves for a few months before the Saturn came out unexpectedly.
Yeah, I was actually doing research about this and researching the Sega Saturn, and the Sega Saturn, if I'm not mistaken, was the Sega console where they decided to announce it at E3 and then said it's available now.
Yes.
And caught everyone by surprise and thought oh, this will be a great marketing stunt. But then people went out to the stores and nobody had it stocked because they didn't know it was coming out. So this is when Sega burned every bridge that they had, because from what I'm to understand, developers were very upset because they were essentially given two platforms and then said, pick one to develop for. And nobody was quite sure which one Sega was going to support. So it's well, if the Saturn is the new console, why would we make games for the 32X? And then well, if we have all this development hardware for the Genesis, why would we switch over to the Saturn? It was very difficult to get games made for the two consoles.
And the 32X was a beast. So, you plugged into your cartridge slot, it required its own power adapter, and you had to run a cable from your Sega Genesis video output into the 32X, and then a cable from the 32X actually into your TV. So like kind of because it basically the Sega Genesis I think was still used for processing backgrounds, and then the 32X just took the actual background video from the Genesis and put other stuff on top of it. And you could combine this with the Sega CD. There were a handful of Sega CD 32X games. And keep in mind that the Sega CD also required its own power adapter. So you could have this beast of a console with 3 power adapters running into it.
I was going to say, I have seen pictures.
Like they sucked at this.
I have seen pictures of people connecting the 32X and the Sega CD. And if you imagine like a Genesis, which is not a small console, like it's fairly wide, and then you add an extra third to it on the side, and then you add an extra third to it on top. That's basically what this looks like. So it takes up your entire entertainment system.
And 3 plugs.
Yeah, let's not forget that those plugs were also those big, giant, boxy ones. So, like, you had to have a lot of space between your sockets.
Sega wound up selling a specialized power strip just for this that had wider spaces in between the plugs on it. And David just described the scrub mode 32X CD combo because he was describing the Model 2 Sega CD, which went to the side of your Genesis. The Model 1 CD sat underneath of it and was as wide as the Genesis. And so that is like the biggest thing you can put together is the Model 1 Genesis, which is the widest, on top of the Model 1 Sega CD, also the widest, and then the 32X coming out on top, nice just in the middle, and it's so tall.
Okay, enough. So this game.
Oh yeah.
What are Knuckles Chaotix?
So, Knuckles Chaotix is you and a partner run around with. You have a like magical bond between you that's kind of like almost like a rubber band kind of physics. So you run around and you can like do things like grab the partner and throw them up onto cliffs, and then they can kind of like swing you up via the rubber band physics. You can have them hold in place while you run ahead and build up speed. You know, they release, off you go. And it's just all around a really difficult, weird game to play. Because it doesn't feel like, in normal Sonic games, you run until you hit an obstacle or something. In this game, you run until your partner decides, like, I'm just going to stop for no reason and fuck you up.
Yeah, it was, because surprisingly, I have not played Knuckles Chaotix. But I was like researching about this game and looking at it, it's like, oh, you know, you play as Knuckles instead of Sonic and you have a partner. It's like, oh, that's cool. It's like Sonic 2 where Sonic and Knuckles and everything. And then I read about like how there's this bond between the two characters and like you have to protect the computer controlled character throughout everything. It's like, well, wait a minute, that doesn't seem fun at all. It's like, yeah. So you can get to a point where if the other character is just off in the distance, you can't progress. Like you have to follow this computer controlled character. And it kind of made it seem like, and again, I haven't played the game, I can't say for sure, but it really sounds like it's a Sonic game that's an escort mission the entire game.
That sounds like a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, now this did introduce such classic characters to the series as Vector Crocodile and Charmy Bee.
Yeah, I was going to say, next, John, you have to tell us about the characters you love so well that debuted in Knuckles Chaotix. It's an August Absurdity throwback.
Oh, Espio the fucking chameleon.
Yeah, what about him?
I hate that
or
guy.
Her. I don't know.
I don't know either, but fuck Espio.
Well, I think if I recall correctly, the reason you hate Espio so much is because there was a lightning round about characters in like a Mario and Sonic at the Olympics game, and you couldn't grasp the fact that there was a chameleon in the Sonic lore.
Yeah, or just that anybody would remember him and put them into a future Sonic game. Like, would Espio the chameleon wouldn't be in anything, right?
Yeah, I can grasp the concept of a chameleon in Sonic lore. I can't grasp the concept of anybody reaching that far back into Sonic lore for a character. Like, what the fuck?
I remember actually. It was the first Mario and Sonic at the Olympics game, because it had Vector the Crocodile as like a heavyweight character on the Sonic side. And like every single review for that game that I read made a point to talk about Vector the Crocodile and say like, this is a goddamn deep pull. Like props to Sega, because fuck.
Yeah, no, I love it. The thing I can't conceive of is that, like, why couldn't they diversify the looks of these characters? Like, why does Charmy B just look like Sonic, but with like a different nose and like B stripes? Like, why do all the characters look almost exactly the same? Like, that's the thing I'm having trouble with. Like, the characters creep me out. They all look like Sonic with somebody else's skin pulled over them, and it's just weird to me. Like, SBO's just purple Sonic with like a little horn. I don't know. Like,
Mighty the armadillo is just Sonic but red.
yes, and with little ears.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got,
The thing that kills me about Mighty is because originally Sonic was supposed to be an armadillo. Like, as they were drafting up character concepts, they thought, like, we should have a character who can curl into a ball. Armadillos curl into balls. And then someone said, well, yeah, hedgehogs do too. All right, let's make a hedgehog. Like, Mighty the Armadillo is literally Sonic version 1.
Yeah, and I just don't know why they think that's what an armadillo looks like. Like, do they have armadillos in Japan? We have them all over Florida. They don't look like Mighty at all. Like, I don't get it.
An actual hedgehog, John, because they don't look like Sonic.
Yeah, but Sonic looks closer to a real hedgehog in my estimation than Mighty does to a real armadillo.
Knuckles looks nothing like a real echidna.
No, he does not.
But so yeah, so this game, like, it's so weird. The levels are like huge and very vertical. You know, most Sonic games, the levels are way more horizontal than they are vertical. Like, there's a lot of having to move up that you got to do. And I think if I remember this right, you don't get to choose the order you play the levels in, and they're not in a set order. It's like a random order. And they're all kind of like the same. There's nothing like, I don't remember any levels having a gimmick that was like, oh yeah, I love this level. I'm like, oh okay, yeah, this is the one that looks like a, whatever. This. This
is the one where you have to roll up.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I did that already. No, roll up, stupid.
Well, I do remember reading that apparently there's only 6 levels in this game, where, like, I didn't play a ton of Sonic, but I recall there being like a good amount of stages, and in this one there's 6, and that's it.
It's 6 levels. I think each does have like 2 or 3 acts or whatever.
Well, but even still, I remember like Sonic 2 having 9-10 stages with multiple acts.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Sounds like this game was a fucking mess, quite frankly. I'm dying to hear Jessie's thoughts.
No, not on the 32X.
I'm dying to hear Jessie with a drop in for his Knuckles Chaotix hot take.
I feel like this game, Knuckles Chaotix, I feel like it's one of those games that I never played because who the fuck had a 32X?
It's a fair question. Johnny hit the hot take button. That's what it was.
Hot take.
That's actually the 100% correct take. Like, seriously, what were they thinking, man? It's crazy that Sega thought they were handling their business in the mid-90s because they were fucking up. Like, I can't believe they even managed to like crank out the Dreamcast eventually. And then it died too. So, like, I don't know, man. I don't know what they were doing as a company back then.
I was just about to say, like, looking at everything with the Saturn and the 32X and all the business practices, like, why did the Dreamcast fail? Who wouldn't want to work with them?
I mean, it's impressive that it even started because, like, quite frankly, the Saturn would have been the fucking final nail in most companies' coffins, especially following up the CD32X, all this crazy shit. Like, no. So, Sega, they're resilient, I guess would be the word, until they weren't. So, anywho, John or David, anything else on Knuckles Chaotix? Just fucking absurd choice.
I'm so pissed because I was just looking up a list of the Knuckles Chaotix bosses, and one of them is very similar to one of the Metal Sonic bosses in Sonic Mania, meaning there was a reference I did not get in that game. God damn it.
Okay. Yeah, you should be pissed at yourself. What were you thinking? Anyway, I say it's time for game 3.
Game 3.
And David, check your Twitter messages.
All right, so in the Japanese version of this game, one of the characters has a victory pose in which he smokes a cigar. This was censored in other releases of the game and changed to a victory pose where the character poses with a parrot on their shoulder. Who got some guesses?
I got a guess.
All right, John and Jesse are ready. John, have you got your guess?
Oh yes, yes I do.
So,
What?
all right, so Jesse says Super Mario RPG, which is sadly incorrect. John Regan says Shantae versus the Marlboro Man,
I love it.
which is incorrect. Damn, I win. The correct answer,
Shantae in Flavor Country.
Oh,
I
damn
played the fuck out of that game.
Cigarette theme Shantae.
The correct answer, this is Skies of Arcadia for the Sega Dreamcast.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Woo.
Man.
Oh, good.
You know, that one of those songs sounded so familiar and I couldn't place it.
Could you place it up in the sky, in the skies of Arcadia?
Now I do.
Yeah. I really just, can we talk for a while about smoking? Quite frankly.
It makes you look really cool.
Yeah. You're right, man. It worked for Skies of Arcadia, did it not?
See, now I'm just, and I mean, this is a reference that nobody on the show is going to get, but now I'm just imagining Shantae whipping her hair against the scarecrow enemies in like tobacco fields, and I want to play this game.
I'm so into it. A Shantae game that teaches you about production of cigarettes.
One of the dungeons in like a giant manufacturing plant.
Yes. I love it. Anyway, so I think that you guys have actually played Skies of Arcadia, right?
I have not.
Someone?
I have.
Okay, thank goodness. So, Jesse, your time to shine, man. Talk with David about Skies of Arcadia, because all I know this from is Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transform.
Me too.
Well, it's basically an RPG, and you live on these floating islands that are in the sky, and you're a sky pirate. So there are airship battles that are really awesome. You have an eye patch, which is cool. The main characters, Vice and I forget her name, but they also appear as cameos in Valkyria Chronicles on PlayStation 3, which is funny. That's a great game too. But yeah, Skies of Arcadia, I don't remember a whole lot of the plot and stuff, but I do remember there was interaction with the memory cards with the VMUs on them. you could have little airship battles on your little memory cards, which was pretty
What?
awesome. And
Ugh.
yeah, the Dreamcast had some really cool ideas.
Strange.
But
I love it.
unfortunately, they were, like we established earlier.
Not
Yeah, I
well
never got
received.
the-
Misunderstood
I
in their
never-
time.
I never got the chance to play this on Dreamcast. I did get the GameCube enhanced port version, and I didn't beat it because it's an RPG, so it's a long ass game. But I did get a pretty good, decent length into it, and I was playing. I was like, "This is why didn't this take off on the Dreamcast? This is really good." And apparently, one of the major changes from Dreamcast to GameCube, aside from slight graphical tweaks and everything, is they scaled back the number of random encounters, which I didn't realize. Well, because I looked up footage of a Let's Play of the Dreamcast original. The random encounters in that game are insane.
I
you'll
do
take
remember that now. Yeah, that was
3
ridiculous.
steps and a random encounter. They are very frequent.
I withdraw my because that sounds like a nightmare. The whole game is just like the Mount Moon cave. Fucking
basically, yeah.
God help us.
I remember playing this game. Well, I remember being interested in this game because there was oh yeah, it's a GameCube remake of this classic Dreamcast game that everybody really loves. Oh, what's it about? It's an RPG. Okay, what's it about? It's about a bunch of air pirates and airships flying around having battles. Well, that's right up my alley.
Yeah. And it has smoking. Oh, yeah.
And I remember, I think the point where I got frustrated and stopped was there's it's an ice dungeon or a water dungeon. And even on the GameCube, the random encounters got to be a bit much. And then I remember getting to the boss, and I couldn't beat the boss because the boss is basically a giant damage sponge, and it can heal itself. So you sit there and whittle away at its health. You get it down to half health. All right, I'm making progress. And then it casts this spell, and suddenly it's back to full health. Well, I'm glad that the last 30 minutes were a complete waste of my time.
Yeah. So was it an actual sponge you were fighting?
No, I forget. I want to say it's a dragon or maybe a turtle. I remember it being a giant reptilian monster, but you could not kill that damn thing.
Nice.
And it was the most frustrating thing.
And
after that, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm done.
Just to bring that into modern times, I've encountered that a couple of times in Octopath Traveler recently, and it's made me take a break from the game because I keep on going to bed thinking I'll just complete this boss fight and then fall asleep, and it takes 45 fucking minutes to do a turn-based battle with one fucking character. It's okay, am I at the wrong level, or I know I'm not playing the game wrong, but this boss is unbeatable. And then eventually I beat it and I fall asleep and I have a bad day the next day because I didn't get any sleep. But long ass RPG bosses, man, that can really wear thin a game for me in a hurry. So I get it, David. But this game seems so cool, man. Air pirates and shit. This really should be more of a series than it is. Is this the only game in this besides the game and then the remake?
It is. They were allegedly working on a sequel and then scrapped it for the remake. And then the remake, I guess, didn't sell as well as they were hoping. So they just kind of scrapped the plans.
Huge mistake.
But yeah, I remember your main character, Vice, uses a giant cutlass. And then one of the female characters in your party, I can't remember her name, uses a gigantic novelty-sized boomerang as her weapon, which I remember was a lot of fun.
That's sweet.
And it was just every JRPG has its own style and its own uniqueness, but this game kind of really stood out. And air pirates, who doesn't love air pirates?
Yeah, there's not many games that are kind of like that. Maybe Grandia 3 is kind of close to that, but you don't get a whole lot of good Sky Pirate games, I guess Final Fantasy 12 had Sky Pirates in it.
Yeah, there's always airships at least. So, yeah, that's something.
You don't get to be a Sky Pirate.
Right. No, Final Fantasy 12 was cool, man. My man Balthier, he's all right. Yeah, maybe it's just because it's easier to program a game with ground. Are you constantly flying in this game? Is that what's going on?
Well, there are like islands and stuff. It's kind of like Skyward Sword. You fly to different islands and stuff, or you're on other airships, or your airships battle other airships.
Word. I like it. And yeah, I'd love to see more of it. I mean, this game looks cool as shit. It seems to me reminiscent, probably not in the same, really in the same vein, but like Rogue Galaxy for fucking PS2, and then I played it a little bit recently on PS4, and it's like, yeah, kind of like steampunk space pirate stuff. Like, it's pretty cool. There needs to be more of that shit. So.
Plus, as I recall, and Jesse backed me up because it's been a long time since I played this, if I remember, you can actually get into battles in your airship. Like, you have your turn-based battles, like, on the ground, but you get into airship battles.
Yeah, there were regular battles, like, with you on, like, the deck of your airship, where you fight, like, some kind of weird, like, wind spirit or something. But then there are battles where it's your airship versus another airship. And like the battle system is a little more, drawn out. Like you have to, I'm trying to remember, it's been a while, but I believe you move around like on like a board to like aim your shots and stuff. And
well, I bring it up because I remember like, Final Fantasy's got airships and all that. It's like, yeah, but you never pilot them. You don't fight with them. Like, that was a big thing in this game, and I remember that being like, this is so cool.
It was really great too. That was the best part of that game. Like, that I wish there were more ship to ship battles, and I know the more you play it, the more you get into. But yeah, that part is so good.
Yep, it sounds fucking awesome. They should there should be more of that. I mean, it's a fun setting, and fun anime art style. I mean, and yeah, it made its way into Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transform. That had to be one of those unexpected features. Like, oh yeah, who's that guy? Vice from Skies of Arcadia, you say? And there's a Skies of Arcadia stage, you say? Well.
It's actually like one of my favorite stories. Okay, so pardon me while I get my Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed soapbox out of the closet.
So, David, if you hear a knock at your door, don't forget to answer it.
I'm waiting for it.
Cool.
So, like, Skies of Arcadia kind of became this cult legend and everything, and, like, it was this fan favorite, but nobody played it, and it never went on and everything. Yeah, so when they decided to add the...
number, I'm having it delivered to his house for his birthday.
John, we can hear you on the phone. You gotta get further away from the mic, man.
Spoiler alert.
So when they decided to add this level into the game and everything and built it in HD and created new assets and everything, they showed the level off to like the original producer of Skies of Arcadia, and apparently it was so beautiful to them to see the world they created in HD that they actually cried looking at this track in this racing game, which I think is a really sweet, cool story.
That's
awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, Johnny, it's a great game, and I'm interrupting the show with David's birthday stuff, so I think that we should move on to the next game so that David can answer the door and get birthday stuff.
Game 4.
Yeah. All right. So this is our fan request for the evening. This one comes to us from frequent requester and Patreon superfan tier producer Dell at Delition_Hikari on Twitter. And thank you again, Dell, for all your requests. So, a special item can be unlocked in Legend of Mana by having save data from this game on your memory card. I love that. That's some tasty sax jams right there. David, how are those cookies, man?
See, you keep saying cookies, but they're clearly cupcakes, and they're delicious.
Website said cookies. Deep dish cookies, whatever that means.
I believe that means cupcakes.
Looks like a cupcake to me, bro.
Yeah, right?
All right, so happy birthday, David, and how are you guys feeling on this one? Jesse, what do you got, man? Oh, God, John's drawn a saxophone blowing penises. Good Lord. And Jesse, unfortunately, says Final Fantasy VIII, which is incorrect. This is Chocobo Racing.
Huh.
Yeah.
I never played this one.
The other... Oh, come on, John. I know you're a big Chocobo racer. Right? Yeah.
I had that
PS1
whole underground
owner that you
gambling
were?
ring based around chocobo races, but
Yeah.
Well,
That's what I thought this was.
Because
You know,
I know
man,
I know you can get a chocobo as your first pet in Legend of Mana if you have Final Fantasy VIII.
Oh, crap. Really?
Save data.
Well, yeah, I hope that trivia wasn't super misleading. Damn it! I thought the sexy chocobo theme was going to push everybody in the right direction. I figured even if John didn't know the game, he might know the chocobo theme. But
Well, they always have like weird versions of chocobo songs in the Final Fantasy games.
oh yeah, I
It'd be
know.
like Jazz Day chocobo or something.
Right, yeah, a little Samba de Chocobo, all that stuff. But yeah, so anyway, Jesse, did you ever play?
I'm sorry, before you get to the question, I just want to interrupt to say I would play the absolute fuck out of Samba de Chocobo.
Oh man, if they just redid Samba de Amigo but featuring chocobos, yeah, quite frankly, that's everything that I want in a game. That sounds delightful. Like just birds shaking their feathers. Sweet. So anybody here actually played chocobo racing before?
I haven't. No.
It was one of those games I saw in magazines, and I was like, "Oh, I want to play that," but I would never see it in stores.
Yeah, who would have thought? It's just, I don't know. It doesn't seem like the kind of game that would have done well in America. Like, it's cute and fun, but like, really, chocobo racing. When I was looking into this, I thought that, before looking into this, I thought, oh, chocobo racing, like. I figured it'd be like Bomberman Fantasy Race, where it's a bunch of Bombermen riding the backs of things. I figured Chocobo Racing would be a bunch of Final Fantasy characters riding on Chocobos. I was wrong. This game is unusual. It's the Chocobo. There's only I think there's like 2 Chocobos in the game. The regular Chocobo who has rocket-powered roller skates, and then there's Fatty Chocobo at some point. So there's a big fat chocobo. I don't know if he's just like a stage hazard or something. And then the other characters that you get to play as, it's like non-player characters and like or maybe it's player characters. I don't know Final Fantasy as well, but like Chocobo, Mog, Golem, Goblin, Black Mage, White Mage, Chubby Chocobo, and the Behemoth are the characters.
Cool.
So it's like the Behemoth. Like,
That's pretty awesome. What does he drive?
yeah, that's really interesting. And they're all driving cars and shit. And Chocobo's roller skating with rockets. And and I guess you can eventually unlock like after story mode, you can unlock like Squall, I think, and Cloud, and like Cactuar. It's very, very odd mixed characters, but the game looks fun. It looks kind of Mario Kart-ish. I mean, the videos I've all seen, it's everybody playing as a Chocobo, so I didn't get to see much of the variety in characters. But it's you're playing as a roller skating Chocobo doing Mario Kart stuff. Like, sure, why not?
Isn't this the first game that featured Squall? And like everybody went out to buy this game to get a preview of Squall, not realizing that it had nothing to do with Final Fantasy.
Oh, is that true?
Or am I thinking of something else? I remember there was something where like a spin-off Final Fantasy game featured the first appearance of like a mainline Final Fantasy character. So everybody went out to buy it and then didn't realize that it had nothing to do with the game.
Huh. Actually, yeah, the release, at least in America, Chocobo Racing predates Final Fantasy VIII by like a month. Chocobo Racing came out August 10th, 1999, and Final Fantasy VIII came out that sexy, sexy date of 9/9/99. So, yeah.
That was a bold move coming out against the Dreamcast.
You are, David. Yeah. Yeah. Here's a whole new Dreamcast. Yeah, we got Final Fantasy VIII. Let's see which one you want. We already have like 50 million consoles out there in the world, so we don't care about your fucking Dreamcast. And we're going to counter-program the MTV VMAs where the guy crawls on top of the thing when Limp Bizkit wins Best Rock Video, and we're going to like
God, was that back in 99?
9/9/99, baby. All kinds of things happen.
I'm old.
It's so good. But yeah, the game looks fun. The stuff I was seeing of it, like I couldn't tell if the guy playing it sucked or if it doesn't control well because he kept on like swerving off the course, and like some of the courses are a little too curvy to like I couldn't tell if there's any kind of like Mario Kart like drift system or anything like that. But like whatever stream I was watching, this guy was struggling with it, but it still looks fun. Like I don't know how you justify a bizarre kart racing type game in the Final Fantasy world. And with tracks that just look like they belong in Mario Kart. I mean, at one point they're racing on like a giant cake. That's so fucking Mario Kart, it hurts. Like,
I mean, also to be fair, they made a fucking Bomberman kart racing game, and Bomberman doesn't have indistinguishable characters. So, at least Final Fantasy's got one up on them there.
Well, at least Bomberman didn't use vehicles. They just used giant weird rabbit things for you to ride. So it wasn't really a kart racing game so much as it was a giant weird rabbit racing game. But, I don't know. It was 1999. Everything needed a kart racer, to compete with that gold standard of kart racers, Diddy Kong Racing.
Still waiting for that NBA
Hot take.
I would love an NBA Jam themed kart racing game. That'd be a lot of fun.
Oh God.
But, it's just I don't know. It looks fun.
An NBA Jam kart racing game can only work if you can unlock the current president of the if you can unlock Bill Clinton and Barack Obama.
Yes, exactly. In little go-karts and also chocobos.
For some reason, an NBA kart spectacular.
See, one of these days for these requests, we're just going to have to replace Johnny on the episode with Dell and have Dell actually talk about this, because I think Dell was like streaming Chocobo Racing like within a week, and like I think he'd be able to speak to it because he's actually played it. But yeah, I don't know. We'll have to look into that as a future idea. Like maybe we can give him that privilege as a frequent as the most frequent Patreon requester. Does asking someone to be on your podcast cost more on Patreon or get you a discount on Patreon? I don't know how these things work, but anyway, Dell, you're great and your requests are cool, and I thought this was going to be a fun one for us to discuss, but I didn't realize that none of us had played it. So, question though, would this be more fun if it were actually a game where you're riding Final Fantasy characters on the backs of chocobos at Mario Kart speed, doing Mario Kart crazy stuff, rather than a game where, for some reason, all the side characters from Final Fantasy are now driving cars.
How do you power slide a chocobo?
That's a good question.
I feel like you could accomplish both. Like you could have, some characters riding on chocobos. And you could also have some chocobos driving in cars or something. I mean, I think it's not out of the question to have both, and it be an amazing game.
See, I feel like every character should have a cart, but that cart should be styled around something. So you have a chocobo in like a cart shaped like an egg, or you have like Sid in a cart shaped like an airship, like that kind of a thing.
I want...
Go for it, John.
I want every character in the cart shaped like themselves.
Yes. Oh, man. I was going to say, I just want, like, for the story mode, I want it to kind of be like the Pixar movie Cars, but the whole world of Final Fantasy is now all chocobos. And, there's no like backstory as to how it came to be this way, but like they're racing in familiar locations. They're all chocoboing about and being cute. And they all have, the Disney Pixar like side eyes, and they're voiced by Owen Wilson. So like whenever you hit a boost, they just go, "Wow, wow!" I think it's a really good idea.
The more that I think about this, the more that I'm sold on the idea of every character having their own specific cart, because I'm imagining like Cloud in a cart based off like an F1 racer shaped like the Buster Sword.
Yes, that's a pretty good idea. I think when you unlock Cloud, he gets to ride his motorcycle from Final Fantasy VII, which is also a very good idea. But crazy sword-shaped go-kart is actually a pretty solid idea too, David. Nice job. It's man, like Barrett could be in it, and it's just a cart shaped like his gun arm for some reason. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so we need to plan that. Let's get with Square.
Patreon goal.
Yes, get like a Final Fantasy 15 kart racer going, and just add a lot of stuff into the game. Like that game, it was immense. I never found the kart racing game. It's got a car, but no real racing in that game. So we'll have to work with them on that. It'll be good.
I got it. Secret unlockable character Sora in a cart shaped like a Keyblade.
Whoa. Damn.
No, actually, Sora in a car that's Lightning McQueen.
Oh, see, there's your crossover.
Wow.
And Lightning McQueen is a chocobo. Wow. So anyway, good request, good tunes, a lot of fun, and man, I think we got to keep it going, man. Let's see how we close this out.
Before we do, I really want to nominate "Wow" for the episode title.
I'm not going to do that.
I was going to say the episode title should be Lightning McQueen, but a chocobo.
Yeah, or Choco Wow.
Game 5.
So, an alternate version of this game was released exclusively in Australia. The only difference is that every vehicle in this game was replaced with Holden Special Vehicles brand cars. All right, gentlemen, let's see those answers. John Regan says Austin Powers the game, sadly incorrect, and Jesse Moore says GTA, sadly incorrect. This is Beetle Adventure Racing for the N64.
A classic.
Are you saying that sarcastically, John?
No.
That's good, because this is a stone cold classic. What's the matter with you?
Well, see, the funny thing is, so I was in charge of 3 games for this show, and I figured I would be nice, so I picked a game that would be easy for both of you, which I thought would be Knuckles Chaotix, and then I picked a game for Jesse, which was Skies of Arcadia, because I figured Dreamcast RPG. Then I picked a game specifically for John, and that would be this one, because I have distinct memories of playing this game with you at your house when we were in middle school.
No, I do remember renting it and playing it a bunch.
Because it's fun as shit.
Because it was the 30th anniversary of the Volkswagen Beetle, and this came out, and it was like a whole thing. I think it was the 30th anniversary of the Beetle. Or maybe it was the 30th anniversary of the Big Mac. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
I mean, they definitely...
The special, like, Paul McCartney controller and stuff. The Paul McCartney guitar and the John Lennon guitar. Is that the Beatle game you're talking about?
No, see, this is the game that came packaged with the Yoko Ono controller where you plugged it in and your N64 would just stop working.
Wow, there's a hot take.
Damn.
Hot take.
Take that, Yoko. Yeah, no.
Somewhere Yoko Ono, frequent listener of Game That Tune, is crying in a corner.
Take that, Yoko.
Yeah, take that, Yoko. No, Jesse, I'm trying to think of a worthwhile joke to build on top of that. There isn't one. Unless nope. So it's not the Beatles Adventure Racing, which would be a pretty dope game if the Beatles had gotten into licensed games before Beatles Rock Band. The Beatles Adventure Racing would have been pretty good.
That would be so cool. Like, forget all that Final Fantasy garbage we were talking about. We need a Beatles kart racer.
Yeah, man.
Fuck yeah, we do.
I mean,
the only problem is that every single cart is a yellow submarine.
There's a yellow submarine.
God, yes.
There's a plum floating in perfume served in a man's hat. There's trying to think of how many.
God, could you imagine if there was a Beatles adventure racing game and one of the unlockable characters was the Blue Meanie?
Yeah. Oh man, see, yeah, that's the thing. So when they say adventure racing, do they mean fucking like acid trip, or is it like around the world? Like,
well, okay, like in Mario Kart, you have different versions of Mario. You got like Baby Mario, Metal Mario, and then Mario. So you have like 50s, bowl cut John Lennon. Then you get like psychedelic John Lennon, and then you get like Monday Night Football John Lennon.
yeah, I was gonna say, I don't want to know the final version of John Lennon you unlock. I know how that story ends. He's not in this game.
Play as like
yeah,
a Blue Meanie. There's like 2 versions of the Blue Meanie, so that's 2 different characters right there. You could be the Nowhere Man.
One of
the final unlockable character is Pete Best.
One of the unlockable carts is Dick Cavett couch, and it's John Lennon riding on that. There's a deep cut reference for all the adults in the room.
There's a fucking track based around the stage for the Ed Sullivan Show.
When you unlock the mirror mode, all the music plays backwards, and you get demonic messages.
Oh man, yes. Now we're talking.
It's not even called mirror mode. It's called Paul is dead mode.
Yes.
Miss him.
And it would need boss races against the monkeys and maybe the Rolling Stones,
the Beach Boys.
Yeah. Oh, dude, the Beach Boys would be a great racing rival for the fucking Beatles.
Yeah, I feel like Brian Wilson would be the final boss of this game.
Giddy up, 409.
Well, the thing about the Beach Boys is there could be a cameo with Charles Manson. So.
Oh yeah, see, he's the guy that he like tricks you into having to race the Beach Boys. He writes you guys some songs.
The Rolling Stones have like the Hell's Angels on their side, so that would be.
See, I'm just imagining the race against the monkeys. The character they use for the monkeys, it's just a ballot swap of the Beatles, except one of them is wearing a knit cap.
Yes, exactly. It's just the Beatles. They're Americans. I like the idea of you having to do like a battle race against the Rolling Stones at the Altamont Music Festival. Ends in a horrifying tragedy involving the fucking Hells Angels. These are great ideas. And then the final level, or maybe the training zone is just a white level. It's just all white. And awesome. Where do I even go? And then like the Beatles just like talk to you about existentialism or something. Oh god.
I can't wait until you play enough races until you unlock the Jeep that's Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Jeep.
Oh man. And there would have to be like just like a drag strip level that takes place on Abbey Road and ends with him like hitting that crosswalk really fast.
I was gonna say one of the hazards for Abbey Road is you have to avoid the people crossing.
You have to not hit the Beatles.
Well, you can hit Paul because he doesn't have his shoes on because he's dead. That's fine.
Oh god. Yes, all great ideas.
Okay, that's one of the unlockable characters is the Walrus.
Yes. Oh my god, I would always play as the Walrus.
Man, yep. And eventually you get to unlock like I don't know, wings.
Eventually you get to unlock a Volkswagen Beetle and play Beetle Adventure Racing on the Nintendo 64.
One of the cars is the Magical Mystery Tour bus.
Yeah. And the Partridge Family bus for some reason. Let's just keep going with this.
So the Brady Bunch in there.
Yeah, I was gonna say that'd be a real mindfuck if you open the doors and then Brady Bunch come out.
Oh Jesus. So anyway,
well, we've stayed on topic.
Then you get to the boat racing around Gilligan's Island.
Can we make any more references that aren't older than the 80s?
These are the most timely references we've ever made. I'm impressed with how many of them we have.
Well, I mean, if we're going to go like the television route from the pre-80s, then obviously you have to unlock the Fonz on a motorcycle.
All right, I'm out.
You jump the shark.
I was going to say, and then you bring in the course where you have to jump over the shark.
Yes. like this conversation did a few minutes ago. So, Beetle Adventure Racing, the actual game, it's a kart racing game where you drive VW Beetles, or in Australia, that other car, whatever it is, HSV Commodore.
Holden Special Vehicles.
Yeah, that's so funny. I thought the whole thing of this game was it's Beetles, and then it's like, we'll put it in a different country. It's I don't know, fucking Dollary-Doos. Yeah, let's go with that.
Do they not have Volkswagen Beetles in Australia?
I don't know. I guess not.
I mean, I never thought about it before.
Yeah,
The Australians are very against the Germans.
they've got their own bugs to worry about down there. They can't be importing giant bugs. They've got enough. But yeah, John, this game's a stone cold classic. Were you not aware of that? This game is one of the highest rated N64 games on Metacritic. It's got a 90% approval rating.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, this game's good.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I knew it was good. I just didn't realize that like everybody else knew this game was good.
Yeah, see, it took people a while to catch on. This is actually, it's made by EA, and it's just Need for Speed, but with Beetles. So, it's fun. It's fun as shit.
You remember there were two unlockable cars. There was the Alien, which was basically a Beetle, but it was rainbow colored. And if you like honk the horn, it would just make like a weird laser noise. And I remember there was a police car that was a Beetle. And if you honked the horn, it would flare the siren, and all the CPU opponents would pull to the side, so you could just cheat your way to the front.
Nice. Yep. It was a fun game. It had like big long courses, and like they had shortcuts and stuff to discover, and fun drum and bass music. I don't know. It was the 90s, so it was what it was. But yeah, it was just it was bizarrely good for a weird VW licensed game. Like you said, John, we rented it a few times and played it, and I have distinct memories of enjoying it. And it's like, well, why didn't this go on? And then it's like you research it. Oh, well, it's Need for Speed. It did go on. They release one of those like every goddamn year now. So, yeah, they should really get back to that. I have a need for Beetles in my racing games. I think
I remember playing the hell out of this game like when we were younger and everything. It's like, oh, that'd be a fun game. I wonder what the soundtrack's like. And then listening to it, it's like, wait a minute, this soundtrack is actually pretty good.
Yeah, it's just like I said, good drum and bass music from the 90s. I'm like, yep, I'm into that. If David wants to pick that for the show, good. So yeah, man, it's a fun game. It went on to morph into a fun series, and it's different in Australia. So, I mean, what else is there to say about it? The question is now, are we headed to the calculating computer, or are we giving Jessie a shot at getting into this with a lightning round?
Lightning round!
Well. Let's just see how this resolves itself. So earlier we were talking about the best-selling Game Boy games of all time. Everybody remember that? Yes. I sure do. So since you guys, since we all just talked about the best-selling games of all time for the Game Boy, I had to move on. And since it's Johnny versus Jessie, they're such Sega dudes, I had to do a little research. And I think we need to do a lightning round about the best-selling Sega Genesis games of all time. So, we love talking sales stats so much. I've got 3 different lists of the best-selling Sega games of all time. That's right. Sales data on Sega Genesis games is a pain in the ass to look up and wildly inconsistent between sources. But there are several games that appear on at least 2 of these lists of the 3 lists that I've found of the 10 to 15 best-selling Sega Genesis games of all time. So we're just going to go back and forth and see who can guess the most. And whoever guesses the most gets the most points, gets to take this bitch home. So, Jessie, we're starting with you. Give me one of the 10 to 15 best-selling Sega Genesis games of all time.
Altered Beast.
That is incorrect.
It was
Johnny.
a fucking pack-in game. Fuck you.
Yeah, that sadly, I'll clarify. That is listed on the Wikipedia article, but on no other websites that I could find. So I don't consider it a verified thing because it wasn't on these other 2 lists. It was only on that one list. So
Well, then Wii Sports doesn't count.
exactly. It does not, except in Japan where it wasn't packed in. Johnny, name me one of the 10 or so best-selling Sega games of all time.
Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Sonic the Hedgehog 2. That's correct. Jesse, what do you got for us?
Sonic 3.
Sonic 3 is correct. Johnny.
Sonic and Knuckles.
Sonic and Knuckles also correct. Jesse.
Aladdin.
Disney's Aladdin, sadly, only on one list.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I could not verify that it was indeed one of the best-selling Sega games of all time. It probably is, but it wasn't on. It wasn't in this arbitrary ass list that I've set up for this lightning round. So, Johnny.
Golden Axe.
Golden Axe. No, incorrect.
Ah.
Jesse.
FIFA.
FIFA. Sadly, incorrect. Johnny.
NHL 94.
No. Sorry. Jesse.
Mortal Kombat.
Oh, shit.
That is absolutely correct. John.
I don't want Columns.
Columns? Okay, I think you're wildly overthinking this. That's incorrect. Jesse?
Mortal Kombat 2.
Hey, he's figuring out the code here. That's correct. Johnny?
Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3?
It's actually just Mortal Kombat 3, but I'll tack you on a point for that one.
All right.
Jesse?
Street Fighter 2.
Ooh.
Street Fighter 2 is correct. Johnny?
NBA Jam.
NBA Jam is correct.
Yeah, it is.
Jesse?
Streets of Rage 2.
Ooh.
Incorrect. Johnny?
See, I think the issue is we keep naming the best games, but not necessarily best sellers. Sonic Spinball.
Sonic Spinball. Sorry, John, that is not correct. It's only on one of these lists.
I thought my thinking would get me there. Oh.
Nice shot, though.
Yeah, you took your shot. That was close. Jesse.
X-Men.
Ooh, X-Men also only on one list, so sadly incorrect. John.
Jurassic Park.
Also, sadly, incorrect. Jesse.
Comic Zone.
I wish that was on there. It is not correct. John.
Michael Jackson's Moonwalker.
Okay, we're about to end this. No, that's sadly incorrect. Let me just review here. I think that we've, there's a couple left on here. But anyway, I don't know. Let's do 2 more rounds. Jesse, last chance. Two last chances.
Madden.
Oh, man. Good guess. Incorrect. Johnny.
I bet it was like a Tetris fucking Tetris game. Is there a Tetris game for Sega Genesis? There should be. Pretty sure there is.
I mean, maybe. It's not on this list, though.
Damn it.
All right, Jesse. What do you got?
Phantasy Star 4.
Incorrect. Johnny.
Toe Jam and Earl.
That's good thinking. It's wrong, though.
Yeah, no, it's not. I know the game didn't sell well.
I have guesses.
Go for it, David.
Did anybody say the original Sonic the Hedgehog?
They did not.
Okay.
That's one.
I guess
What? Go
Sonic
for
the
it.
Hedgehog, and I'm gonna
Yep.
guess Vector Man and Strider.
Nope.
Okay.
Was there Shinobi?
No Shinobi. The three that are remaining, it's Mortal Kombat 2, Streets of Rage 1, and get this, The Lion King.
The Lion King outsold Aladdin?
Oh, wow.
According to some of these lists,
Wow.
again, sales data on Sega Genesis games on the internet is wildly hard to come by. So, based on this arbitrary ass lightning round, you both got 4 points. So, Johnny, let's send it over to the calculating computer, man.
Calculating computer activated.
I'm just trying to say that Yoshi's Cookie is pretty good and you match cookies. Can I say that? Can I? No? Fuck, man.
Scoring complete. This game's winner is... John Regan.
I cannot believe this is the results. But
I'm
yeah,
shocked.
John
I
versus
gotta
John
say.
next week.
I'm not. They once said that someone told me once, you don't sleep on John Regan, or was
No.
it don't sleep with John Regan. I'm not sure which one it was.
Probably a little both.
it was don't let John fall asleep on top of you.
Oh,
No, maybe it's something else. I've made the mistake in the past of sleeping on John Regan. That's why this is, that's why I didn't make the first August Absurdity Finals. So, man, John, great game, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
He's moving on to the finals, folks. The underdog, man. I didn't see this coming, but it's going to be fantastic. So it's going to be an all John August Absurdity final. Quite frankly, the most absurd matchup possible.
Mm-hmm.
So Johnny versus me next week, August Absurdity finals. Then goddamn, it's going to be a hoot. I'm sure that Jesse and David are going to put us through the ringer.
We got
And,
our work cut out for us, Jesse.
Yes, the ringer of fun. So it's gonna be great. So great episode, great games, tons of fun tonight. Thank you to everybody who was live watching along with us. We're live every Wednesday, twitch.tv/GameThatTune, youtube.com/GameThatTune, and facebook.com/GameThatTune. Thank you for watching live and chatting along with us. We always have a blast. Thank you to everybody listening in podcast form. You can get our podcasts on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts, and they're available Wednesday mornings, and they're great. So check us out there and leave us a rating, and just download it, even if you don't listen to it. I just want to know that people know about us. And you should check out our Patreon page over at patreon.com/GameThatTune. It's the home for our fun exclusives. We've got monthly stuff coming. We're catching up on last month where I had to wipe my computer out. So this month's going to be a double fun month. Whenever we get around to posting all that fun stuff, go to Patreon, throw us like $5, throw us any bucks, and we'll be happy to have it, because your contributions really help us make the show better. Special thanks to our Patreon superfan tier producers, Alex Messenger, Lance Revere, and Andrew Oliver. You guys are fantastic, and we appreciate everything you've done for the show. And you can hit us with requests. Thank you to Dell once again for the requests. He finds us on Twitter, but you can also email us your requests, gamethattune@gmail.com. For next week, send your requests to Jesse and David on Twitter. Jesse, you can find him on Twitter at...
well, I mean, technically, Johnny owns my Twitter now.
Oh, no! He lost
I don't
the
have a
Twitter
Twitter
handle! Okay, so you can find Jesse Moore on Twitter at JPReganJR. This is going to get weird. So maybe you should send the request to David on Twitter at...
DFD Fleming.
Yeah. And you can follow your August Absurdity finalists on Twitter. I am at JGangsta187. And John Regan, tonight's winner and August Absurdity finalist, he's on Twitter at...
Real Sega Legend.
Oh, God. He's changing the whole thing. You guys really should have competing legendary Sega accounts. Why haven't we done that before?
I don't know, man. That's such a good idea.
Damn it, we're bad at marketing. Yeah, but yeah. So, Johnny, you want to say a few words before we send you out with some fantastic bonus tunes?
Yeah, man, I had a great time, Jesse. I feel like we both did a great job tonight. That lightning round was tough. We both made it out pretty all right, though.
Tough but fair.
Yeah, tough but fair. I want to say it's been it's always nothing but an honor and a pleasure to play against you. Yeah, I I love doing this show.
Yeah, it was great.
It was fun. Jesse made the mistake of coming soft against John Regan, and I guess all you can say to that is live and learn. We'll see you next week, folks.
Can you feel life moving through your mind? Ooh, looks like it came back for more. Yeah. Can you feel time slipping down your spine? Ooh, you're trying to ignore. Yeah. But you can hardly swallow your fears and pain when you can't help but follow and put you right back where you came. Live and learn, hanging on the edge of tomorrow. Live and learn from the works of yesterday. Live and learn. If you beg or if you borrow, live and learn. You may never find your way. Oh, yeah. Can you feel your life tangle you up inside?
Man, I was wondering if we were going to go all the way with that. Pokemon Pinball is copyright 1999, Nintendo of America Incorporated, Game Freak Incorporated, Creatures Incorporated, Jupiter Company Limited, and HAL Laboratory Incorporated. Knuckles Chaotix is copyright 1995, Sega Games Company Limited. Skies of Arcadia is copyright 2000, Sega Games Company Limited. Chocobo Racing is copyright 1999, Square Company Limited. Beetle Adventure Racing is copyright 1999, Electronic Arts Incorporated.